Hello and welcome back to Down the Slope. We've got a full house for the first time in a couple of weeks, so we're very chuffed about that. You left us, but now you're back. Not the best time to come back, but how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Tough week offshore at the Chocolate Fat today. Wrapped up nicely watching Hibs on an iPad. I'm well, mate. I'm very well.
Good. No, glad to hear. And Liam, one entertaining thing this weekend, because the Hibs game certainly was the AFCON yesterday. That was at least a bit of fun.
Oh, that was quality last night. I've not really watched the tournament because it was the final. I thought I'd go on a wee scouting mission and watch Scotland's group stage opponents, Morocco. And oh my God, I've never quite seen an injury time and an extra time like it in my cream puff. What drama, That is, if you could bottle that level of drama and sell it, EastEnders, eat your heart out.
Jink, is it a surprise that is it Berham Diaz or something? He got out the stadium alive, like that penalty.
You seen all the conspiracy theories about him missing the penalty intentionally and that as well that have been coming over the course of the day. It's been that was quality last night. I did enjoy that. It put me. Well, I was going to say it helped me get sleep. It didn't because my heart rate was pulsing because I was absolutely willing Senegal to win it after that. What a good bit of entertainment that was for a Sunday night.
And Craig, to put you on the spot, because obviously I don't like to prepare you for these things, if you could pick a moment, if you were the Hibs manager, that you would demand that the players walk off the pitch because you were unhappy with a decision, what moment do you think you would have picked?
Oh, fucking hell. Ross County away when Marshall was fouled and then they scored off the back, I think. Like blatant. There's one for you, a random one, a niche one.
I like that kind of came off to you like right off the cuff. Ian, did you have one you were going to throw in there?
Two that came to mind was the Griffiths free kick at Easter Road, but also Harry Cochrane's tackle on John McGinn that just sort of got waved on. Maybe in a not so bitter moment, given that we won that game.
But I suppose we should rip the Band-Aid off and we should at least cover the game from the weekend. We're definitely not going to talk about it for too long because we've got with the January transfer window and other fun things to talk about. But Craig, do you want to start us off? I know on the pod last week, you and Liam were berating me for saying that I wouldn't mind seeing Bolotnikov play, but Gray decided to make quite a few changes. Were you surprised when you seen the lineup?
Yeah, I was actually, to be honest. And to be fair, when lineups come out, I'm generally, I would say, on the less critical side. I'm not really that too fussed. I just kind of wait and see what happens. But I was definitely concerned, and I voiced that in the group chat that I was concerned about Hoylett and Newell starting together in the midfield. That was definitely something for me that instantly was red flag straight away. I was a bit surprised because he didn't tend to change too much. I was surprised with the volume of changes, and I was surprised that he played two players like that together.
Liam, you look ready to speak.
I think he's not Craig's spot on. He's not had really a record of making a lot of changes. I think when the last time he made that sort of volume of changes for a cup game was obviously Celtic Hearts last season, and we know how that turned out. I thought he got the selection all wrong at the weekend, and I've been very quick to defend David Gray on here and on Twitter, and in any conversation I have. But I just felt the changes. It's not so much the changes in terms of the personnel and what the personnel means. It's what it signifies for the team a lot of the time. For me, it signified that we were going to not take it easy, but we weren't going to go and just try and kill the game off. And to be honest, I felt really justified having watched the first 20-25 minutes of the game. We were lackluster, and players coming in who, let's be honest, Newell has not looked ready in the minutes he's played this season, and Junior Hoylett, although he had some good touches on Saturday and has got 4 goals, I believe, off the bench in the league this season, has generally stunk the gaff out this season when he's played, and he kind of continued in that vein on Saturday, to be honest.
To be fair, Liam, I think probably the important thing in what you said there with Hoylett is off the bench. I think it's so clear from this season at the moment that he's definitely not a player that can start games. It felt like a man down, if I'm honest.
He got subbed on there, and I'd argue that his best moments in the game had come in that 15 minutes before he got subbed off. It's like almost like he needed the rest in some respects. And I know there's just two different schools of thought with players. Sometimes they need the minutes to be able to play themselves into form, and Hoylett could be that kind of player, but I just don't think in the first round proper of the Scottish Cup that is a risk that's worth taking, calculated or otherwise.
I think he needs the benefit of all the other opposition players already being tired. I think when it's a level playing field in terms of energy, it's not good for him at the moment.
I think he needs to go to the Toronto Maple Leafs on loan for the rest of the season.
Is that even a team?
It's a nice hockey team.
But you're the only one that's not really chimed in with your opinion. Just kind of give me your overall thoughts on the 90 minutes.
On the 90 minutes, jeez.
Yeah.
How long have we got?
It wasn't good. Well, no. God, the overall 90 minutes was shite. Like, it was really shitty watching, is what it was, Harry. That's my overall thoughts on the 90 minutes. I came away from the game immediately being like, we got what we deserved, right? But if that game had went to extra time, I think that's actually what I wasn't watching the end of the game thinking Dunfermline were going to score or anything like that. But there's no way you can argue that Hibs deserved more than what we got as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's I think we've probably come out of a lot of games this season just being like, aye, that was probably about right, and just the. Not good, mate. You're asking me to sort of summarise a full 90 minutes where we've lost a championship team. It was shit. Like it wasn't good. We didn't get going from the start. We never thought the start of the set, like sort of that period Liam was talking about, like in and around our mark. I thought we kind of did get on top of the game a little bit, but not good, mate. Not good.
It's one of those ones looking back, because I'm just going to be happy clapper to the extent it's going to annoy everybody for the rest of the season. I think the overall performance was really bad. I think that for large portions of the game, a problem that I've had a couple of times this season is it's just really boring. Like when we're on the ball, we don't really do anything, and after we kind of pitter-patter around the back, we lump it, and it just comes back to us, and it's really boring. But we did create like the better chances in the game. I know against a lower league team we should be creating it in more abundance, but Kieran Bowie simply has to score that opportunity. It's not good enough.
That wasn't creating anything though, even really was. It was a break of the ball in the middle of the pitch, and I mean it is a sitter, like he has to score, but it still wasn't creating anything. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just like.
But it was a clear-cut chance that he should score. Like
yeah, but Hibs didn't. It wasn't fucking passing it through them, and we didn't like. I wouldn't be looking at that going, "We've created that chance." It was lucky.
We still had the chance. His chance was still had.
The second best chance of the game is probably Cleege's as well. To be honest, Cleege's chance is a really good opportunity, and look, I think we can all sit here and debate over the what the better chances were in the game, but ultimately, against the lower league opposition, we should probably be creating more than we did, to be honest. And the reason we didn't create those chances was because I felt there was just a lack of fluency in the team. It was very disjointed. It was so notable when Josh Mulligan came off, and I don't think Chai was a terrible replacement, but when Mulligan came off, there was, to be honest, in the stand, there was a bit of like real anxiety when he went off the pitch. Like you were like, where's this fight back? Because up until that point we'd been setting best. Where's this fight back coming from? And Chaiwa came on and probably did okay. Probably okay. Maybe that's too complimentary. Maybe just a little bit subpar. But there were just so many players that were below it. I was looking at the 11 when I got back to the car, and I was going, I could probably say Megwa had a decent game defensively. Salinger's done fairly well. The rest of them, no.
It was so much. It was so like there was so many meh. Do you know what I mean? It was like it's not even like there was so many glaring like mistakes. It was just, like they just never started the game. And I know the guys already spoke about the lineup, Harry, but it does go back to that. That's what everyone's going to go back to. Like and fundamentally for me though, you've not brought 5 kids in. It's 5 senior players. Arguably last season's player of the season in Rocky. Obita for Iredale that everyone would have wanted before the game, your captain, your record signing, and obviously a really experienced player in Hoylett. Like they players are the reason that we lost the game. They weren't good enough. They should have done better. Like you obviously opened up with the team selection, and it's easy to say it's too many changes, but it is serious senior pro footballers. It's not Rudy. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not a cup like that's nobody can come out of that game with any real praise, really.
I made a
Are you-
comment earlier on. I just want to erase from the record because I was remembering back to the Clydebank game last season where he probably made more changes than that, and probably even the Livy game in the League Cup where he made more changes than that. But I just think, with all due respect, Livy away in League Cup early on when you're in Europe is a very different proposition to Dunfermline away midway through the season, and Dunfermline have players evidently that can hurt you. I didn't really feel like we went out with intent to hurt them. In possession, we were poor. Out of possession, they had three big lads at the back. I think only Chillico and Mullen looked comfortable on the ball. I think the other two we could have got at more. We didn't press them. We sat off them. I cannot tactically understand Hibs going to a lower league opposition side and not pressing them when they're on the ball in possession. Like I cannot fathom that at all.
And see, in terms of team selection as well, the thing that probably baffles me as well is I don't really think there was a necessity to make like 4 changes going into this game. I don't think there was a necessity to rip up what was a winning team, given that we would have a full week of rest ahead of Falkirk. You touching there, Liam, on Livy when we were in Europe. It's completely different if we're fighting on two fronts, but we got a week's rest. We don't need to play about with 11 that's winning the games. And I actually thought when we made the changes in the second half and Barlaser came on, and Nicky Cadden, there was a bit of football was almost in danger of breaking out for a spell in the game.
Barlas had that one pass in particular where he released Cadden down the left hand side. Is that when Cadden just absolutely blasted it into the stands?
Can I maybe play a little bit devil's advocate though and refer back to the fact that it's the players that are coming in. Like, so Rocky's been away at AFCON. If he's going to play and you're going to introduce them at 11, it's probably not the worst time to do it. I think the universal agreement was that Obita should come in for Iredale. Maybe not Will Rocky, but Obita for Iredale was one that we probably wanted to see for Saturday and potentially even long term. Issue with that being if Nicky Cadden's not fit to start, you're dead. Like it felt maybe like it was one or two too many, given maybe I felt there was a couple of form picks there, maybe Cleege, like.
And then maybe continuity of defence being important though, and he's changed 2 of the back 3, and that's 2/3 of the back 3 changed. Rocky and the others don't maybe have the same, or at least in recent times don't have the same level of relationship that Hanley and Iredale would have with O'Hora and the new goalkeeper as well. And I think, not to jump ahead into the game, but ultimately their goal comes from a lack of relationship between Rocky and the goalkeeper.
Yeah, when he heads it out for the corner. Yeah, I just think, look, obviously there was too many changes, but I just think, like, when are you going to know if Neil's up to it post injury? Because we're in as we mentioned in December, like, we are in a running games here that are in the league very difficult. The games don't get any easier. We've got like Falkirk, United, Rangers, and Hearts. I think it's the next 4 games. Like, it's not like I think there's a couple of the changes that make sense, but it's probably just maybe the volume of them together. But one thing, the biggest thing for me is just stop moving Jamie McGrath from the middle of the pitch. Yeah. We're not playing through teams when he's not there. He, as an individual, has done admirably well at left wing back. But similar when we moved Mulligan to right wing back, you missed him too much in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're trying to say with Newell and when are you going to get a better opportunity. But I think bringing in guys into the team who have not been starting games, 3 of them in particular, Hoylett
started killing
and Rocky, and was absolutely shit. But I think bringing these guys into a game like that, like, Gray knows Scottish football, and I was saying it to folk off the stream and stuff. Like, anybody who knows Scottish football knows that going to East End Park at the weekend was going to be a difficult game and was going to be high intensity and all that kind of stuff. So I just feel it was just the wrong game. If we need to get minutes into Newell, get minutes into him in bounce games that nobody knows about, and then bleed them in through sub appearances. I don't think because even Rocky, a guy who's not played football much recently, the passing it was indicative of a person who wasn't up to match speed and fitness, or match sharpness. His passing was all over the place. Newell, to be honest, I'm a massive defender over the years, but just didn't look in the game at all. He did not look in the game. He didn't look confident. Didn't look like he wanted to take the ball off the folk, which is what he would usually do. And even when he did, it wasn't too great. So I just felt like, as I said before the game, it felt like the wrong time to make these changes.
Mm-hmm.
If I just to chime in, I think I'm more on the side of Ewan in the sense that if you are going to try and I fully agree that you need to put him in bounce games first, but I do think that Newell's been part of bounce games and he has been starting to make like off the bench subs. I think that if you want Newell to actually be part of the first team squad, this was probably the game to actually try and get competitive minutes and see if he's up to speed. Because now realistically, I don't want to see him have significant minutes in the next 4 games, not because I don't think he's ever going to be good enough, but at the moment he just doesn't look up to the speed of it.
I think rather than isolating him,
enough.
I think it's him and
Volume.
Hoylett.
Yeah,
It's the issue, like rather than just him. Is the issue. It's making 2 changes at the back rather than 1. It's playing. I could understand McGrath on the left because it's a game where we would expect to attack more in terms of we'd expect to be on the front foot, and he was playing much higher, and Megwa kind of goes deeper anyway, so it sort of balances itself out a wee bit. But again, it's another change, to the fundamentals of the way that we want to play the football game. So I think it's a volume rather than an individual issue for me, and I think that's why he got it so wrong. And I think when he'll reflect on it, he seems like quite a reflective guy. I think when he'll reflect on it, he'll realise that it's his decision ultimately that's kind of led to us going to the cup. To be honest, I think it's as cut and dry as that for me.
So in your opinion, and I'll open up to the rest of these as well. So is it David Gray and his decisions to rotate it a bit too much is probably what you have to pinpoint it to?
Squad's got enough to beat Dunfermline away.
Which means I would come back to saying it's the players' fault. I don't look at that team. I look at that team and I think we've got a striker that we think is worth $6.5 million paired with another striker that we paid £1 million for, with a player that's and like I think that team should win the game. I think they should perform better. And yes, the manager maybe shouldn't have made that many changes. Maybe we found out a little bit that the players we have in reserve aren't quite to that level that we thought they were. But I think I think it's firmly on with the players that started the game and just weren't at it. And I think I don't know. Like I would be looking more at the players individually than looking at any 1 or 2 choices with a starting 11.
I'm going to give you the boring answer, Harry, as I often do in life. Actually, I'm sure I was explaining this motto to your sister at the weekend. Generally, the truth doesn't lie in either of the extremes. It lies somewhere in the middle.
Aye, of course.
I do think it's somewhere in the middle because the players absolutely have to take responsibility, because there's no doubt in my mind that on paper that 11 that started at the weekend is more than good enough and more than talented enough to beat Dunfermline, and that's no disrespect to them, but ultimately the reality is that they're a division lower than us. However, I think Gray made a bit of a rod for his own back by making the volume of changes, like Liam says, and not only just personnel changes, putting McGrath left wing back. I think he could have sniffed trouble ahead when he made that decision and maybe thought twice about that one.
Actually, just as we've been talking through it, like when you almost break it down positionally as well, like you with the McGrath going to left wing back, you're seeing 3 of the back 5 kind of change. With Hoylett and Newell coming in, 2 of the 3 in midfield is different. Clegy up front, that's 1 of the 2 strikers. It is more than just the 5 changes as well. So
yeah, but also as Mike's just pointed out in the chat, if Bowie scores and if Clegy scores, ultimately it is a different game. It is a very different game. But they didn't, and I think probably one of the other points that kind of comes off the back of that is that we should just be creating more than 2 chances to score in 90 minutes against Dunfermline. We should be making more than that. It shouldn't come down to missing 2 chances, and that's the reason we lose the game.
Aye, but I think we've started touching on a few different areas that we can strengthen. But I think part of the feeling around the club which has went from beating Hearts to then like 3 weeks later, some people saying that they want Gray and the recruitment team and the board out. But I think part of the feeling is the fact that we've got some holes that ahead of January, I think it's fair to say we were all kind of expecting or hoping to be filled quite quickly. And we are almost 2/3 through and we've not made any signings as of yet. Liam, you're normally the best at knowing how football clubs are run. Why haven't Hibs made any signings yet, Liam? And why are we all so annoyed about it?
I'm going to make a wild assumption that some of the targets that we had in mind have joined other clubs. I think two in particular who were rumoured before, and Harry Clark and Lyndon Dykes have obviously chosen to go elsewhere. I think, I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's going to take away any of the frustration for people that are listening or watching this. I think people are going to be rightly very frustrated. And to be honest, a lot of the ire at full time was pointed at David Gray, but I think you'd have to say 19 days in with deficiencies that are known to the club and they're not to have been some sort of remediation, rectification of those decisions or those holes, I think is really poor. I do. I think it's really poor. I think we should be in a better place than this. I think other targets should have been identified, and those players decided that they were going to give us a cold shoulder, and we should have moved on them. I think it's just very plain to see, and it's plain to see there's some players in there who are not wanted or not being used. Mm-hmm. So we should be actively. I'm sure we probably are, right, but we should be actively trying to pursue other homes for those players. Players with 6 months left on their contract. I'm like, well, they're not playing. They're not even on the bench some weeks. So I hate to go down this sort of road that we've been down so many times before on this over the years. I just really struggle to understand why we're on the 19th of January, no acquisitions in the building.
Yeah. No, I think probably historically I've been the most impatient in January. My birthday's the 8th of January. I always like to use that as like as a if they should be in the door in and around there. Do you know what I mean, Harry? Like they've had their week, but I
You're
think
just a few days later, Harry. Is that your barometer as well?
I think that's a good setting, but like
I see that my birthday it's Ian Gordon's opportunity to be Santa Claus. He's ruined right. It. He's no Santa anymore to me.
But last season things were good, and I wasn't kicking a fuss up. I must say, like when we only signed Manny on the 20th of January, I was like, fine. But when you know there's holes, fill them.
Well, Malky, this is what I struggle with, Liam. So Malky Mackay does that interview at the end of August, start of September. And they pretty much directly reference the fact that we tried to sign Lyndon Dykes. An admission that you wanted to bring in a striker. Yet here we are in the middle of January without one. Like, the issue hasn't gone away. Like, it's not, if anything, it's more prevalent now. Like, like, I know it doesn't make sense to me. And it's quite obvious that we need something at the right-hand side to give us a different dimension. Meg was played his way or by default coming to the team when Cadden was out and has done all right. But like, there's just no excuse to not have at least day two positions dealt with, especially when your sporting director or whatever his title is telling us at the start of September they tried to bring in a fucking striker. They recognise it's a position we need. How have we not got that? Like it doesn't, and that's what, like, again, like people will go back to the manager and say picks the same players every week, picks his pals, or the style of play. Well, maybe the squad isn't actually as good as we think it is, and we're not improving it. Like it baffles me. Like it really does. It's the striker especially though. How did we know we needed it on September 1st, but we've not got it by January the 19th? It's no Football Manager, but it can't be that hard.
Yeah, that's another question though. Is obviously we were all excited when he came in, and I've tried to defend him as much as possible. I think Saturday was one of his worst games, but we've spent our record fee on a player, and so far he's one, supposedly not been ready, and two, hasn't been very good. So is there a worry about if we do spend money in January, it's going to be other players that we're going to have to wait 2 months before they can actually start playing. Like if we sign
Well, that's a
players in
choice,
January,
though,
we
isn't
need
it?
them to start now.
Yeah, but then that's a choice. You identify players that you think are more ready-made to come in, and you sign Jamie McGrath instead of Chaiwa. Do you know what I mean? Like there's you don't have to sign player just because you spend money or you're bringing someone in. They don't have to be from any given league in Europe or whatever. Like Liam's mentioned, go and test Motherwell's result for Masvinisi, or do you know do you know what I mean? Though, like there's players that are scoring goals
Not
in
exactly
the
the
league, or there's
mould we're
players that
looking for,
No, but-
Lizzie.
We're not getting
but
near him now, mate.
but I still think we need a player. I know we think it's a physical player. We need a striker. Period. I think we might need two. Like, I don't think we just need a physical striker. I
It's
think we
amazing
need-
what I
I
lost,
think we
does
would
it?
carry 6 forwards. Yeah, I think we would carry 6 forwards, mate. Like,
No, but-
it's
but-
just it's
I'm
just
not
pour
being
a wee
funny,
bit of
but
cold
we're
water
in,
on that one.
but
though.
we're in the middle of January, and are you convinced if Clegy starts again that he's going to bag you goals? Like, Boyle's been a bit
I'm
hit
still,
and miss.
I'm still not down on the Clegy signing. I'll be honest. He didn't have a good game on Saturday at all, and he misses a big chance. But I still think the raw materials there are
Mhm.
there. Him and Bowie need to play together to build up a relationship. I still think that will come good, that signing. But I know with each passing game, people are going to get potentially a bit more down on it. I think he was always going to struggle to play this season with how well Boyle did last season, and the fact that Bowie is a £6.5 million rated striker, despite what the guy in front of me was saying all game on Saturday. I won't repeat that in this podcast, but there was a guy who genuinely, I think his missus must have sent Kieran Bowie nudes or something, because he was just honestly the entire game. He said at the end of the game, well, not quite at the very end, he was like, "You'll never play for Scotland again, playing like that, Kieran Bowie," or something like that. I was like, mate, go and just
playing
settle it.
specifically like that.
Just settle. Anyway,
Just to
sorry.
say, when I say we might need two, it kind of ties in with your point about there's probably players that could move on. Do you know what I mean? But like Yuan's out of contract, Boyle's out of contract. Like, I think one is a minimum, but I think we need another option up front. Nobody in the squad outside of Jamie McGrath is scoring enough goals this season. I know Bowie's outperforming his XG, but it fucking doesn't feel like it. Like, just fucking sign someone.
All right. Well, I don't actually think we've given a proper dedicated segment yet to our January window. So let's actually go into it. Let's save Hibs' season in the next 11 days. Wait, Liam, what are you going to say?
I was just going to say, Ewan is the meme, like the guy with the stick prodding Hibs, like, but the stick just gets bigger and bigger with every passing day, and then the stick all of a sudden becomes a tree, and he's like
Liam,
nudging it through the tree.
All my barometers, my birthday, my holiday, my shifts at the chocolate factory, they've all passed. Where are they? Like, come on.
Panic stations are here. But speaking of here, Coraz HFC is in the chat. I believe that's the first time. So welcome, Coraz. Good to have you on board. Just to confirm, we talk absolute pish. We are also Long Bangers fans, not the opposition. Don't worry. But back to Hibs. We've got 11 days. Is it the 31st the window closes? The first? Who gives a shit? But
Depends what day of the week it falls, mate. 31st falls a Saturday, so I think it may be open until the 2nd.
Okay. So we've got 2 full weeks then, which
Oh,
is
fucking
panic,
relax,
loads of
mate.
time.
Relax.
we're sorted. We're sorted. We're not even going to. We'll talk about it next match. But Craig, I'll open the floor to you. You've got the keys to the club. We've been told, Craig, we need you to fix this, and we've only got money to get in maybe 3 signings tops. What are you going to do to fix this club and make sure that we are fighting for potentially higher?
Positionally, are you asking me for fucking names? Because there's absolutely no chance of that.
Positionally, mate. And you can give like the profile of player you want us to bring in.
Positionally, I still want a 6. I think the biggest difference between our season, between our squad this season and last season, is that we're missing. Obviously, he was excellent, so it's obviously you're going to miss him. But is a Triantis. We're missing somebody that can break the play up and then drive forward with the ball. Obviously, Mulligan does do that, but he's asked to play in a different role. He's not sitting in front of the defenders, kind of covering that back 3 off. So I think we need that. to help with a wee bit of mobility in midfield, which I think we lack at times with the one or two of the players that are in there. We definitely need another striker, as Ewan's pointed out many occasions.
As Malcolm Mackay told us.
Yeah, and I think your mind probably drops. I think everybody drops to right wing back after that, don't they? But Meg was doing well just now. It's difficult.
Yes, but come on.
Cameron
Come on.
Congreve.
Come on. Nothing
I'll
comes down
even-
the right hand side. Not
Yeah.
a fucking
Yeah,
sausage
delivery
comes down the
wise,
right-hand
yeah.
side. We offer nothing down that right hand side. He did really well defensively to take away any of him. I think he's actually really grown into it the last few games. I haven't got 6 months to see whether or not he's going to develop into being good enough to play that position week in, week out. He obviously, Chris Cadden, I think, is kind of slipped away a little bit. And I
Is
just,
he the squad at the weekend?
no, don't think so.
Seems to be a fairly uninspiring option at the moment, Chris Cadden. To be honest, I don't feel particularly hopeful when he comes on the park. Again, another one that I feel like in the last couple of years, or the last year or so maybe, I just don't have as much trust in his mobility and his ability to get up and down the wing as much, particularly going backwards. I feel like he seems quite slow to get back. And obviously, Ewan or Liam, one of you has pointed out that the assist record is fairly poor, which sometimes I don't know how you tell if it's a reflection on him as the ball that's going in, or if it's a reflection on the strikers that are actually in the box not getting on the balls. But yeah, I would say 6 striker and yeah, probably a right wing back. Reluctantly, as much as I love Megwa, but yeah.
Liam, you in any differing positional fills you just want to bring up?
I would prioritise right wing back, to be honest, and the striker that you mentioned. Those would be the 2 priorities for me. I know I'm always the guy that wants a 6, but those would be the 2 priorities for me. See, someone in the chat said Philip Lissa from Falkirk. I think he's been really good. The ironic thing is probably both the Falkirk's right backs start for us. The guy that's sitting on the bench at the moment, Keelan Adams, is probably better than anyone we've got as well. Just based off, how he's adjusted to life in the Premier League. I think his ceiling's probably higher as well. I know that sounds like a really reactionary take to suggest that both Falkirk's right backs are better, but I think actually if you've watched any of Falkirk this season, you'll see they've got a threat down that right hand side. And we need deliveries from that side, because it's if you stop us down the left hand side, you almost completely stop us, because we don't really play an awful lot through the middle unless McGrath is in there and he's on it.
I just obviously I've said it before, I have such a reluctance with looking at players playing well for other teams in the league in short periods and short spells and saying, let's get him in, just because I get the fear so often about players that play well and have purple patches and then are not the same when they move a club.
I would agree on Philip Lissa, but I think Keelan Adams, it's over an extended enough period of time that I'd be pretty confident on that one, like based on the jump that he made from playing, non-league essentially to just taking to the championship last season so well, and then I think he's really easily made the step up to the top flight this season. There's nothing in that suggests he wouldn't be able to make the step up for us. I think he's that kind of player. If we didn't go for him in January, I think he'd be out of reach for us in the summer.
I do think if it's when you want to see him do it for a sustained period, don't you? Like that, like, because even like someone like, and there's a profile as well. You don't want to maybe go and sign a 29-year-old that's having a purple patch, but like Josh Mulligan probably only really performed at the level he did for Dundee for 1 season. But he's young. You expect that to sort of develop and move on from there. But I probably am slightly different, Harry, in terms of what I'd be looking for. I don't necessarily buy into we need an out and out 6, especially with the shape that we play. Speaking of the guys for Longbangers are in the chat, and Colin texted me on Saturday. We were chatting about a few things, and I said, I think we need a midfielder. And he went, what type of one? I went, a good one. I think I want more legs in midfield. Chanta is maybe is he a 6? I don't know, but he could progress with the ball as well. I think you need someone in there to actually not just maybe come into the game when Mulligan goes out, but actually to play in there. I've like 2 proper engines in there that help us move the ball at the pitch. So I think we do need something in the middle of the pitch. But I think the work needs, if it was 3 players, I think they all need to be attacking progressive options. And I don't necessarily need to think that has to be 2 centre forwards and a right winger or whatever. I think we need a little bit more flexibility in the squad so that, we don't have to set up in 3-5-2 every game. We can play Chris Cadden or Mego at right back, but we've got a player that can play on the right hand side ahead of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I think we need players that give us variety to change games, to change our approach in games, and change it mid game. That would be my thoughts really on that. But definitely a centre forward, but attacking options is what I think we need, if I'm being totally honest. I seen something that I thought was quite interesting. I can't remember, someone tweeted it on Saturday night, I think. It was like, we've set up to play Legia Warsaw and Dunfermline the same way. And I was kind of like, whilst that's probably not 100% accurate, like, it kind of is. Like,
who's got the more intimidating ultras?
Can you speak from experience?
You're best placed to answer that one, Liam.
You know about the Warsaw ones anyway, that's for sure.
Do you know what I mean? Though, like, and I thought it kind of, I was like, do you know, like, they're not wrong that way, and you wouldn't necessarily say that, if you were playing 4-3-3 or whatever, you probably wouldn't highlight that. But going to Dunfermline with 3 centre backs, and it, on the face of it, doesn't look great. So I do think we need options that change. I think we need game changing and system changing players, really.
Yeah, just to come back on something you said there about the legs, do you think, I was just trying to have a quick look and comparing our squad with the one that kind of went on that good run last season, do you think it is literally just legs that we're missing? Because we all said
I was literally just about to jump in and say I think legs is the main thing that we're missing, apart from striker. But for right wing back and middle of the park, like Triantis, for as good as he was on the ball, like, he would be everywhere and he would break everything up. And Cadden last year was mobile enough to get up and down the wing, whereas this year he's not really shown that. And Meg,
but he also had Miller there. He had Miller there to dovetail with, and I think the running power from maybe that period of last season to now is entirely different. Instead of having guys running the ball like Triantis, you've got Balliser, who can't run, if we're being honest. Megwa, who is young and will learn the game, but obviously at the moment is not showing much going forward, and much running power certainly going forward. And I think you do miss that, given that Gray, a lot of the time, his teams have reflected physical teams that are built to suit Scottish football.
Mate, it's why I was so excited about the signings of Harry Clark and Lyndon Dykes, if we'd made them, and not to sound too much like, a man who's lost the love of his life to another man. I do think they were perfect in terms of profile for what we were looking. 2 fucking athletes, big physical hard bastards. Harry Clark, 6 foot, plays right wing back, get him down the park. Injury prone, granted, but if he's fit, great.
Can also play at the right side of the three.
Lyndon Dykes would be a fucking cheat code in this league against some of the shite. Especially, see that game on Saturday. If you've got Lyndon Dykes to go on for the last half an hour and Bowie's tired, just gives defenders a whole fucking different thing.
It's like a more talented Jordan White.
He's more mobile. He can run channels and that as well, Dykes.
But he's going to come on and be a nuisance and elbow folk. That's what he's going to come on and do.
I think it's a
don't like the comparison, to be honest, but I'll let you have it.
I think it's quite good, to be honest.
I'm having it in the sense that he did caveat it with him being just a better player. Do you know, yeah, I think so. Like, because and maybe this will transition us on to we'd mentioned how there's been a lot of criticism around the style of play and stuff, and the manager should be getting better out of the players and stuff. But I think I've probably spoke about it more than the rest of us. We are playing 3 centre backs at the back, so there's not much progression out the backside. There's not, we've seen it when Newell and Barlaser have played 10, 15, 20 minute spells together in midfield. Like, we are seriously, and we are lacking that. When we're at our best, we hit teams on the counter attack. We're fit. We're quick. We flood the box. You can go, if you go and watch a lot of our goals this season, they are crossing into the box. It is counter attacks, but we do have 4, sometimes 5 players in the box. And I think when we don't get that opportunity, that's when you start going, right, now we're just aimlessly passing it around the back, because we don't then maybe have that little Scott Allen or whoever to break down a team when if we aren't quick enough on the transition, they get back in, they sit in, and we struggle at that point, which is why I think we need a little bit more legs, but definitely just like I said, game changers, a little bit of different option. Can we bring a player in that will allow us to go and play with 2 strikers and 2 wingers high when we, if there's half an hour to go against St Mirren at home or whatever? Because right now, I just don't actually think I don't think we can do that, and that's then a limitation on the manager. I think when we've got a fully fit squad, you could play Obita at left centre back. Someone was in my brain,
Nicky
but
Cadden?
yeah, well, Nicky Cadden in front of him gives you that a little bit on that side. But I don't think Cadden or Megwa can play at right centre back with the options that we've got behind them. Right wing back with options there's gaps that need filled if we want to keep playing the way we are. But the way the squad's set up, we have to keep playing the way we are.
The squad's got a big Zach Mitchell shaped hole in it now as well, Harry. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to mention 2 players that, one departed, one missing. But Zach Mitchell, it's a shame because he looked good in limited minutes. Seems like he'd be an alright player, but I suppose if he's not going to get first team football, then don't really blame. Is it Charlton? Is that who?
Charlton are really fucking us over this window.
Yeah, they can piss off. But another player I was going to say, I don't think we mentioned him.
Liam's criticisms of them, was it 6 weeks ago when you were slagging them off on the pod?
But it's,
I hate Charlton.
Small club, weird. But I think Josh Campbell was really missing. I think Saturday was the type of game that he would have thrived, and that's when I'm talking about legs, games like that where you just need players to be all over the pitch. And as much as some people like to criticise Josh Campbell's footballing ability, which I think is a bit harsh, he is just so good for being that buzz in the middle of the park and helping the team get up the pitch. So for me, when Mulligan's out and Campbell's out, it's just really, really flat in the middle of the park, and I just don't see us pressing anywhere near as much without him. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. If we can get a player with the ability between Josh Campbell and Josh Mulligan, then I'd be very happy if we can hit that sweet spot in the middle of them. And fully agreed. I had a horrendous take the other day for a laugh that Josh Campbell should be a marauding centre back. Mind when McTominay used to do that for Scotland? He'd start at right centre back and then you'd see him in the opposition box. Class.
Let's just not talk about how he used to defend when he played there for Scotland.
Yeah, but could Campbell potentially play on the right in the current system? Is that a potential option?
No, we tried that and it was a fucking.
Hear me out,
Was that not as a right back on the floor though? Was that not as a right back?
Hear me out, right? I think we should play centre midfielders in the middle of the pitch. That's keep Josh Mulligan in midfield where he's really fucking good, and keep Jamie McGrath in the middle of the pitch where he's really fucking good, and just make sure your squad's fucking robust enough to deal with a couple of.
To be fair to McGrath, he was excellent at left wing back every game up until.
It's not a criticism of him. It's what you miss when he's no in the middle. If anything, it's a praise of what he gives you in there. Because I think
Harry's bang on. I'd had Campbell in the team. I'm not saying that because it's a direct competition with Junior Hoylett. I mean, I would have had Naomi Campbell in the team ahead of Junior Hoylett, but fucking Alistair Campbell in the team ahead of Junior Hoylett.
Oh, fuck's sake, man!
And have we heard? Is Mulligan definitely back? By the way, have we heard if that's going to be a long-term thing?
No idea.
Let's fucking hope not. Let's hope not. I mean, no going back to the game or that, but I've not seen it back. But I felt at the time it was an absolute stonewall yellow card, and free kick, and not given. I thought it was an absolutely bizarre decision for the referee, who, by the way, I know I'm going to take your place. You didn't want to go, Harry. With that refereeing performance on Saturday, Jesus Christ! I thought the one this Saturday before was bad. It was an absolute nuke.
There was one just before it on Mulligan as well that he didn't even give a foul for. I had some waiters in the hotel looking at me as if to be, what the fuck's going over there, as I screamed into a little iPad.
how he misses that handball for the position he's standing at as well. Wild.
It's and you know what was really annoying? The commentator saying it wasn't a handball. That's the type of one I don't think it should be given as a handball. He said it hits his supporting arm when his arm literally drops down into it. I think it
What's
would be
the
a harsh
supporting
penalty,
arm
but
got to do
within the
with
rules of the game,
Apparently,
it's-
if it hits your supporting arm, it's not a penalty.
but it wasn't his supporting arm because it was his back arm that it hit. So his front arm was on the ground, but then he moved, and it was his back arm that it hit.
He's sliding on
So,
the deck. His arse is the thing supporting him, no his arms. Like,
That was what, not to go. If we want to talk about Craig's favourite player, Anthony Ralston, that's why people were saying that penalty decision was a joke, because if he'd slid and put his hand on the ground, it wouldn't have been a penalty because his arm would have been supporting him. But because he had tucked it in and dived in, it was a penalty.
You've got the Ricky Ralston Hibs supporters club in the top left-hand corner of the screen.
He tries. I'll give him that.
But speaking of outs with Mitchell, I think with the reaction of literally nobody saying anything, we're not going to miss him. I don't think he was a bad player, but he was fifth or sixth choice. Who cares?
Well, we've seen him, but never seen any of them.
But other players potentially on the way out, just because they've not featured or we've not heard much from at all. Manny, he came in this time last year. We'd probably expect him to move by end of window. And then because he's out of contract in the summer, as much as I love him, and I've said it before, I think it's probably time for Levitt to go. Again, I think he's got the ability to play for Hibs, but I don't think he's going to be here by beyond this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if he jumped ship soon.
Sorry, Harry. I'm not letting anyone finish their sentences tonight. Apologies. If Mulligan's injured, medium term, longer term, I think there's a world in which Dylan Levitt comes back into the team. I think that's. I don't think that is out with the realms of possibility. I know you're coming from, but if you're going in order of priority, who let go, Junior Hoylett would be the top of the list. Then below him would be Alassane Mane for me. Just he's not playing. I don't know what he can do. I don't know if he's any good. He's looked all right actually when he's played, but it's only been a few appearances. I'd have much more faith in Dylan Levitt over a stretch of games.
100%.
But could we also acknowledge that if he was to come in, it would likely be alongside Barlaser? And as much as I really like Levitt, Levitt, Barlaser,
no, I don't agree with that. Actually, I think it would be beside Chai. But
getting run over the top of HSC,
I do think you've answered your own question there, though. That's why he's not playing. He isn't mobile enough, and I mean, if you see all the do you know what? It's a difficult position to play in as well, because Joe Neal's accused of hiding all game on Saturday, and I've accused Dylan Levitt of no showing for the ball enough. You're expecting your six or whoever it is to take the ball all game long, but I think Levitt's time at Hibs will come to an end in the summer. I think he'll make 10 appearances between now and then, start a couple games. Do you know what I mean? And that'll be that. I think Mulligan, Chaiwa, and Barlaser will rotate as the two in there unless we sign someone else, and that'll be that. Do you know, Manny, I was surprised Manny was still here when I woke up on the 1st of January, to be honest with you. I just thought that was sort of nailed on, that there would be something there for him to go back to Denmark or whatever.
The difficulty with him will be there'll be not many clubs want to take a player who literally has not played.
Mm-hmm.
No match fitness whatsoever. So anyone taking him in January is going to have to get up to speed. Am I right in thinking that the Danish? No, it's not a summer season because Midtjylland were 5 games in, but I think they maybe go on a winter break or something as well, potentially.
Right, okay.
So,
because he hadn't played for ages.
A winter training camp or something. A winter training camp to get him in. Just a disappointing signing, really, isn't it? For the one January signing we made last season.
It was, or it is. Not to, we're totally writing him off, but I don't.
How long has he got left?
18 months, I would imagine.
Months. I feel like that's going to be a loan in the summer, just until his contract ends. I don't care.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
Him and Hoyle.
But Craig, ruining it for everybody, just to let you all know if you weren't aware, Craig's favourite people in life are Specky. And Dunfermline had their own Specky up top. Talk to me. There was a couple of impressive players for Dunfermline that we should probably be sniffing around, Craig.
Yeah, it's bizarre because I kind of went to the game. Obviously, we'd put them on the Twitter thread as players that we would potentially be interested in, because I think they both have impressed and they're both young players. But Jellicoe, Mullen and Todd, I was impressed with them. It's the first time obviously I've seen them in person. I've seen them on the telly a lot as well. I know you're talking about Todd, but I was actually probably more impressed with Jellicoe and Mullen. I thought he looked so composed and actually physically more developed and than he did when I watched him on the telly. When I seen him in person, he was a bigger frame than what I was expecting, and I thought he dealt with our boys superbly well. To be honest, I'd barely put a foot wrong.
I agree on Chillico Millen. I have one reservation with him in that the majority of the times I think I've seen him play, it's been for Scotland under 21s, where to Craig's point, he usually is probably the biggest player on the pitch in most of those games. He is, he's a specimen. And sometimes I don't know if it's just his size and his athleticism that gets him through those games and makes him really stand out. He obviously is quite striking because he's quite different looking and to put out there, in terms of his hairstyle and what have you. So you do notice him both when he does good things and bad things. But I like Craig, I was really impressed with him on Saturday. I thought he was probably the best player on the pitch on Saturday. And Todd, I've seen a fair bit of as well, but mostly in the Championship. I thought he put himself about well. I don't think he was a standout necessarily, but I thought he put himself about well. But I think there's enough there beyond the game at the weekend to say that he's probably someone who we should be, if we're not already, at the very least tracking.
I thought on Todd at the weekend, I agree, I didn't think he was tremendous or anything or standout, but some things that I notice when I see a player, and it determines in my mind whether a good player is, certainly with a striker, is the link-up play in the first touch and how sure they are of the first touch. And I thought there was a couple of nice examples on Saturday with him where the ball came pinged into him and he just managed to knock it off first time and link the ball well. So that was just something that, seeing him in person, that I thought he'd done quite well, and that made me like the look of him. First impressions and all that.
Ewan's not happy, Ewan's absolutely raging, Harry.
No, I was paying attention, but I wasn't paying that much attention, so I can't really pass too much comment on them. But definitely, look, I've been deadly serious. It's a profile of player that I think Hibs should be absolutely looking to mop up of sort of every year. Like trying to get the best out of the Championship, I think is a pretty good low risk move. Yeah, like some of them might not work, but you might get a Kevin Nisbet at it. I think it's something we should be looking to do.
Definitely Chillico Mullen is the one that I would have had. If I could pick one, it would be him.
If we sign a player who's doing really well in the Scottish Championship, it gives me a really good opportunity to quote retweet it saying classic Albion Road Analytics as well. So
yeah, done Hibs.
Well,
untapped market, that unheard of players go from the Scottish Championship to Scottish Premiership, Harry. Unheard of. Truly groundbreaking stuff.
Has he signed for them this window?
No,
it's just a pre-contract, so it'll be there in the summer.
Right.
Classic.
You've simply got to wonder how they get that sort of deal done. Pre-contracts. Who'd have heard it? Honestly, who'd have thunk it? It's like they've just finally learned it after Andy Webster fucked them off in the early 2000s. Honestly, you got to say what a job Jamestown are doing. That is just classic.
It's a shame because Jamestown was closed on Saturday night, wasn't it? That's a shame. Yes, we got on. Get that around you. But yeah, obviously, two quick
Tony
things.
Bloom injured.
But I'm just gonna I'm gonna ignore the question. We can reassess because see the thing is at the moment it feels quite doom and gloom because realistically for the rest of the season we thought let's hope that Hibs go on a bit of a cup run and get the Hampden. Obviously hasn't happened. So at the moment, if I asked you the question, what's the ambitions for the rest of the season? It feels quite gloomy. But we're not going to discuss that because we can hopefully discuss it after a positive result next week. And what's feeling like a big game against Falkirk. Obviously, Falkirk in a good vein of form. Played pretty well against Celtic, albeit they got beat. Obviously, Hearts took them to penalties, but they ended up coming out on top of that one. Craig, come to you first on this one. Obviously, we went 2-0 up there earlier in the season, and then we got battered in the second half. What's Gray got to do to get this team to get a result for us?
Fucking play players in right positions and play players that are up to speed, and hope they play better than they did on Saturday. Because it's a mixture of everything. Even though some of them weren't up to speed and whatnot, they just played poorly, didn't they? They were poor all round. So It's interesting. I'm debating in my head. I don't think it's worth that change in shape. I was having that debate with myself earlier, maybe trying a 4. But given my criticism of making changes going into a game, I don't know if that would be the right one. I would still like to see Boyle and Bowie and Clegy starting up top. I think it's important to get them playing together as often as we can. If Nicky Cadden's ready to go, I want to see him start. I thought we looked much more progressive when he was on the left, obviously, because he's naturally in that position. So let's get him on the left and get McGrath back in the middle of the park where he's meant to be.
Nice. And sorry, I was about to go to Ewan, but on my screen it froze for a second, so that's why I got caught off guard. Sorry.
Paying attention.
Ewan, obviously we made 4 or 5 changes. I can't remember how many, but we're probably going to have to make them back. What's the rough 11 that you'd be looking at? Because you're normally good at just rattling them off the top of your head.
Oh, Ruffle. Salinger, Iredale, and no, sorry, not O'Hora, Hanley, Obita, Nicky Cadden, Barlaser, Mulligan, if not Mulligan, Chaiwa, fucking anyone at right wing back, Jamie McGrath, Megwa, Jamie McGrath, Ewan Bowie.
Liam, any disagreements?
Probably Boyle ahead of Ewan.
It's Boyle. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, forgot Boyle. Boyle. Yeah, Boyle.
Yeah, I think probably Boyle. Ideally, 2 new signings, but yeah, I think that's what I'd go with. Maybe Bowie and Clegy actually. Bowie and Clegy. Just stick with it.
I forgot Boyle came on at the
Stick
weekend.
with Bowie and Clegy.
Going back to Boyle.
I think you've got to invest the time in that partnership and hope that it comes good, because ultimately these are the 2 guys that we've spent money on. So
got Boyle for the last 30.
Do you know what? I feel like such a hypocrite, because going into the sort of New Year, Christmas, New Year period, I was saying, you got to get him a run of games and stuff, and then he doesn't even get that run of games, and now I'm like, nah, fuck him, don't play him. It's not on them. The players just need to play. The players need to play. The players need to. We've spoke about it, and I think Liam's mentioned it a lot. Majority of games this season, we've come out the blocks flying, and we did not do that at Dunfermline. And that's what they need to do at Falkirk. They need to come out, play fast, play hard, and win the game. We've got a tough 4 games coming up, but you continue the unbeaten run in the league. Say we go in, we win 2 or 3 of the games and draw a couple. The Dunfermline game very quickly becomes a fucking massive inconvenience and shite, but you're still looking up the table, and there's still a lot to play for this season. But it is massive to see that reaction this weekend. I think a lot of the time when you get these bad results, the reaction's almost more telling. Are the players going into the Falkirk game going, oh fuck, not got much to play for now? That's they need to sort of put their chests out and actually go and just play and win the game and do it in a kind of fashion that you would expect. Falkirk are a good side, look like a real decent side at points this season, but Hibs should win this game, and they should go there and play like that.
I think going to Falkirk is going to be a much more difficult game this time than it was last time, and I think we need to make sure that we do a great thing and match their physicality and their energy, whether that's actually at the time obviously as well, but by the players that we select as well. Let's put high energy players on the midfield, and in the defence as well, players that can move and get about the park. I think that's important, but also to be fair to Falkirk, I wouldn't want to disrespect them in that sense, because I think when you actually watch the games, they are high intensity and they are energetic. But see, when you actually watch them, when they get the ball down, they're composed. They're composed when they get on the ball, and they pick nice passes out, and they link some nice moves up, especially down that right hand side. We've seen a number of goals for them this season coming from that position where they then cut inside and play it through the middle. It's going to be a difficult game. It always is when you go there. And I see a number of folk in the chat as well toying with the idea of a 4 at the back.
Not for me.
Do you know what? There's a couple of things that make me not want to do it. Is because it's such a big change. at an important game in the season, ultimately Falkirk just below us. If we win, they're away. If we
If you're
lose,
not
they're
allowed to
right on
play
the
a
back of us.
captain in a cup game against the championship side, I'd suggest not changing the entire system.
Yeah,
of the league.
that was my next point, mate. It's too big a change, but it does make me think. Maybe it's worth trying at some point. Maybe it's worth trying. Maybe it's worth trying when we're in a game that will go ahead, and we feel comfortable in the game. Then we can make the change then and see how it goes at a period when the game's not so much at risk.
Can I just highlight, J-Star's mentioned a couple of times, and maybe we've been on here for over an hour already, and we've probably not asked the question, is David Gray under pressure, but J-Star said Gray could be under pressure depending on how the next few games go and crowds dropping. I don't think we're at too much risk of crowds dropping because we've sold like 14,500 season tickets. I think pretty much barring a ridiculous run of form, there'll be tickets on sale in the South Stand pretty much every game. But the Grey being under pressure, we maybe sillied it a month ago. I still would silly it if I'm being totally honest. Like, it's a shite result, but you're fifth in the league, 2 points off fourth. You finished third last season. You're competing again in the league to be there or thereabouts. Like, I think
if I'm being fully honest at this stage, I don't want Hibs to sack a manager on the basis Hearts are top of the league. If Hearts were bottom six at the moment, there wouldn't even be a conversation of Hibs potentially sacking Gray. Like, we're literally 2 points off fourth. Like, see if we lose the next 4 games and we're in the bottom half and we've absolutely shat the bed, absolutely have the conversation. But the 2 cups, unacceptable performances will absolutely give you that. But Hibs finishing between like third one season, then ideally no lower than fifth the next season is like, look at our like history of finishes in the 21st century. Like, I know we've invested more money in the squad than we have in other times, but for me, sacking the manager at the moment is just reactionary to a different team, which just isn't how you should run a football club.
I mean, I wouldn't be even entertaining the conversation at all, but I think if you look at I know it's heat at the moment stuff, it's reactions and stuff. I think if you look at the reaction in the stands on Saturday and the reaction, on social media and stuff post the game, I think that core of people who want him to go is growing. Like, it is growing. Like, so we can just say no, we wouldn't consider it. We don't think the club would consider it. But that groundswell of support against them, much in the same way it did for Jack Ross, is growing. You're seeing some of the same comments already coming through. That Jack Ross only finished third because the rest of the league was rubbish. I've seen that said now about David Gray on several occasions about our achievements last season. That same sort of narrative is starting to seep back in. So whether or not they do it now or they look to do it in the summer, look, again, I wouldn't entertain it. I wouldn't even have a conversation on it until the end of the season, personally. But I think it's naive to say just because we don't think it is, and then that's not a talking point for many people just now, because it is. I think there's a lot of people doubling down on their opinions from last season, to be honest, as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I was thinking about this over the weekend. I think there has been an overreaction, but it's an understandable overreaction. Do you know, I do get the frustrations, and it very much depends on how you want to look at it. Because you could easily look at it and say, if you're going sort of looking behind you, you've got a 10-point cushion in the top 6. So that's like the first, almost the bare minimum thing. Right, okay, you're succeeding there. You're still within touching distance of the old firm in mid-January. It's 9 points, is that right, to Celtic and Rangers? If you'd been told that with no further context at the start of the season, you'd be going, oh fuck, we're having a pretty good season here. Like, but I do also appreciate there's a fairly, I don't know if the stats actually back it up, but you watch Celtic and Rangers and you say, they've probably been there for the taking a little bit more this season, and had we been a little bit more consistent, we would have been a little bit closer to them. But like, I just think objectively, there's not really any, like, the cup game at the weekend aside, I don't think there's any real grounds for justifying a sacking just now. But I do appreciate the feeling that the context around all that can give to do you know what I mean? Like, I think probably 18 months ago, I'd have been like, fucking get this cunt away. I'm trying to take a calmer head approach to it as well. But I just think it's far too early, really. And I don't know, it's disappointing. I think that but like Liam, we had an air last season, like in the middle of the good run on the Friday night when we were struggling. It's just the way it is, I suppose.
That's football nowadays. And to be honest, I agree fully with Harry that I think the neighbours across the city are having a major impact on the feeling amongst our support. I think that's probably the point towards the context that you're talking about, Ewan. It definitely has an impact. Like, it definitely has an impact on the feeling. Alongside, and then when you pair that with going out of the cup or going out of both cups, and then just generally some pretty bang average performances overall, and the fact that most of the highs this season were right at the beginning of the season, also has an impact on that. It feels like it's been quite a long season for what has. We've been okay. We've been okay, and I think average to middling is a definitely slight underperforming or not slight underperforming. This squad has underperformed this season, but I don't think it's so drastic that we need to sack a manager or people need to be losing their jobs over it or anything like that. I think sometimes in modern football, it's like we can't accept that a team can just be average. They can just be all right, and that doesn't mean get rid of everybody and rip it up. That means there's still something there to build from. We've got a good squad, and we've got a young manager in place and a guy that knows Scottish football so well and knows the team so well. So I would definitely sit on the side of just chill out a wee bit.
I think we're talking there, and Liam mentioned obviously that there is a swell of that opinion. Like, Cora's like, I think what he raises there on that point, saying so that Gray is more under pressure for his style of play, his formation, lack of change in subs more than the results. Like, I think it is the results that drive that. But like, I do think the points that he's making probably you could argue are valid. And I just maybe want to wrap us up on maybe we'll just get a quick couple of minutes on the episode title. So we've said Mackay or the manager. So like, is it that David Gray is limited? So his subs and his lack of change are based on the squad that he's been given? Or should he be doing more with the players that he's got?
I think perhaps a lack of change formation-wise and maybe system-wise, or however you look at it, is based on the way our squad is built. We're definitely, the squad is built for that 3 at the back, 5 at the back, whatever way you view that. And as maybe that has come about as a direct result of the way we played in the latter part of last season and how successful it was. And we definitely, because we had that chance last season to get rid of loads of guys that were dead wood basically, and then kind of not start again, because it was definitely not as drastic as that, but we moulded the squad in the summer more towards that. Obviously, we actually started with 4-3-3 and then changed it, didn't we? So I think maybe, again, it's a bit of both, isn't it? I don't think it ever falls down to one person or one player or whatever. I think generally it's a bit of everything. And I think they could all do better. They definitely could do better.
If you wanted to criticise the recruitment, could you point to the fact that we've got like a lot of overly similar players across the pitch that don't really do anything when you change them? Like Ewan, Cleary, Boyle pretty much all fill the same role in the squad. At right wing back, Haddon and Meg were relatively like ineffectual at one part of their game. Middle of the park, you've got about 4 or 5 midfielders that all occupy the same role and don't really bring a different dynamic.
I think that's where a director of football or a sporting director, Harry, would come in and say it takes time to build that squad, because you're dealing with not just the players that he signed, but players that are a legacy from 2, 3, maybe even 4 managers ago in some circumstances. So I think that's where a director of football would say, but I can't just terminate their contracts. Like, we need to find homes for them. And I think every manager in world football is probably playing with a squad. Maybe apart from Pep Guardiola, he'll find something else to blame. Is dealing with players in his squad that, let's be honest, he's a bit like, I'm not really having him, but I kind of know I've got to use him because he's maybe my first choice left back or he's my second choice right winger, and I've got to sort of flare him in. I do agree with you, Harry. I think you were coming on saying about the midfield. I think there's a lot of very similar profile midfielders in, which is why I wasn't a huge fan of the signing of Barlasser in the summer. I felt it was too similar to what we already had in the building. He's done all right, for the most part, his time at Hibs. Is he a massive upgrade on what we had? Unconvinced, So I think fundamentally, I just keep coming back to it. I think it takes time to build the squad, but you're going to have some misses as well. For all the credit that was given last year around the transfer window we had, there have been some misses that have cost us in quite key positions in the transfer market so far.
I think one of the things that would be most notable as well in the summer, and I think it would be silly and it'd be wrong of us to sit here and say that we didn't think the summer window was good, because I vividly remember us sitting here and saying that it was quite good and we were quite happy with it. But we did all cite that there was a couple of holes that we didn't fill. And I think ultimately at the moment, I think our squad, there is those couple of positions, 2 to 3 positions that is glaringly obvious at the moment that we just didn't get them. We've got them wrong ultimately.
Yeah, the way I sort of think, like, you want 2 things from a squad. I think you want a squad of players that are available, and you miss a couple of players, but you can still have the same approach and you can provide consistency. That you miss 2 players and you're not having to rip all the entire way that you want to approach the game of football up. But then, and I think we've got that side it nailed. I think we can. Like how you say, Harry. If Boyle is out of the team, you've got Cleegee. If Mulligan's out, maybe you've got Chiva. Whatever. But I think the second thing you need from a squad is when things aren't going well, you've got the option to change. And that's, like, I think we've got the consistency, and this is how we want to play. We've got the players to do that. But if Plan A doesn't work, who are the players that provide that Plan B? And I think that's been a big criticism: is what is our Plan B? But I don't even see the players that would give us that Plan B. And that's where, like, I think I do slightly lean on. We're 19 days into the window. I think we should have seen a couple of different options coming at the squad by now. But that's not the reason we went out of the cup at the weekend.
Fact.
But, boys, I'm hoping that we're all going to predict that we'll be bouncing back this weekend. We'll all be sniffing, we'll all be smelling the destruction and decay that's coming to the rest of the league. But
you are the most embarrassing thing to happen to Hibernian Football Club this week, Harry.
Yeah, being honest, I think worse than 5-1 is my new favourite. That was very good. Good on you, Paddy, for saying that on the old Twitter. But for me, I'll come up with a score prediction first. I'm sure after my Motherwell rant will get clipped by Falkirk fans. I'll say 2-1 Hibs. I think it'll be a competitive game. I'm hoping that we'll bring a lot more energy to this one than we did at the weekend. Because I just think that realistically we got outfought, and I don't want to see that happen very often. I don't think it does happen very often to a David Gray side. So for me, I'm hoping for a 2-1 win. Liam, you take it away next. What's
I'll go 3-2 Hibs. Kieran Bowie, Thibaut Cleegee, and Jamie McGrath on the score sheet.
Nice. I always like how Liam does that and then instantly just is like, shit, who's going to score goals? Do enjoy. Craig, yourself?
Mate, I'm expecting again. I'm going to
See,
sound
if
like
you
a
predict
fucking
another
record.
fucking draw, I'm going to come down next up here.
That'll be that. I'm not going to be predicting a draw now. No, I'm expecting another really tough game, to be honest. And I can already feel the PTSD of that Falkirk goal tune already. So not looking forward to that. Fuck. So
Just predict the score you think.
I was going to go 2 each, so I'm going to stick with 2 each. Sorry.
Yeah, do you reckon that Craig just
I got
goes
it right the last time? So
he doesn't actually get on the bus when it comes. He just sits at bus stops. Honestly, man. Jesus. The reason I don't go to Craig last is because I don't want to end on a not win. But you round us off. What we're going to be.
Look, I genuinely do think that there's a very high possibility that it's a draw, but fucking J-Star thinks we're scoring 11. I think Hibs will win the game 3-1 in a fairly tight affair with maybe a couple late goals. That's 3-1 to Hibs. That's my prediction.
Right, well, there you go. We've got 3 wins predicted, 1 on the fence. So we're undefeated in our eyes this season. I wish this weekend.
Well, in
but
our eyes, we
everyone,
are fucking every week.
fact. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Everybody that's commented along the way, thank you as well. And we will catch you next time. Goodbye.
Cheers.
Cheers, Mona Hibs.
Cabbage.